Brown on Sean TV. This is a testimony. You know how you hear people in church give a testimony of how you feel like they feel like God showed themselves to them or came through for them in a way. Man, it happened to me at the DMV, man. Before I went, I was looking for my keys to get out the house, and I had to go renew my license. And I was looking for my keys, and I was like, man, I know I'll be sitting there for a minute. What I'm gonna take with me to keep me busy, because I really don't want to be on the phone, because that's my next thing as far as maybe making a video. I don't want to be on social media, or not really social media, because I ain't really on that like that, but just on the phone, not doing nothing constructive, like trying to, there's different things I'm trying to fast from, and that's one of them, the phone. I think we all need to do that, unless you maybe got something to say or something significant you're doing with it. Other than that, start trying to put it down in your kids as well. But that's another conversation. But the point is, I was saying, okay, what you gonna take with you? What book you gonna take with you? You can take the Bible, you can take your book about, whatever. And I was debating, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna take the Bible, because usually when I read the Bible, I'm usually following along with a sermon, what I'm saying, and going right along with the preacher is preaching, and going, verse for verse, book for book with that preacher, and going with him. I was like, man, I need to do a little reading, just on my own. I haven't done that in a while, so I was like, okay, I've been reading Revelations. Let me just go ahead. And I got about 2 or 3 chapters of Revelation read there. And while I was there, I took the book in a plastic bag, like a Family Dollar plastic bag, a Dollar General plastic bag, actually. And I had sat down, and once I was able to get my ticket and sit down, I'm reading. Then I went into the desk when my number got called, and I turned around, like to get ready to take my picture, and the Hispanic guy, threw his head up at me, young guy. I threw my head back up, and I'm not a rude person. I ain't gonna, especially now with me being in the word, man, it changed your mentality. It really does. It make you. But once again, and then, it's just like anything else. It's like working out, or it's like learning trigonometry or vocabulary words, whatever, or accounting or whatever you learning. You know what I'm saying? If you don't keep yourself fresh in it, you won't remember the terminology. You won't think as an accountant. You won't think as a person that do trigonometry. It's no different with the word. If you get out of it and you don't stay consistent in it, you won't talk that way. You won't think that way, because it's just like everything else. You got to keep in it to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? But he threw his head up at me, and I threw my head right back up at him, and in my mind I was like, man, this dude finna talk to me about God. I promise, as we went through my head. So I went, after I took my picture, do what I had to do, I go sit back down, waiting to get my paperwork. And the guy walks up to me, says, man, is that the word you got in your bag right there? Because at that time I wasn't reading, I was just sitting there. I had just sat down, and I said, yeah. He said, I see you got your sword with you. He called it the sword, which it's your weapon against the devil, And I was like, yeah, man, I'm just trying to stay with it and stay consistent with it, because I see that, the changes that it's doing to my mind. It's done it before, but I'm really trying to stay committed to it the way I, know I should, because you see the battles that it bring into your life. Because that's how you know God real. That's how you know the devil real. Because if you really want to know, man, just get in the word and start praying and start just reading the word and listening to sermons and playing gospel music, and you'll see, man, the evil that's in people and the good that's in people, as shown today, will come out. You know what I'm saying? It'll come out. It ain't got no choice but to come out, because this is a spiritual world we live in. No matter how much they want you to focus on the carnal and the material, this is a spiritual world. So you're gonna, once you start tapping into to the spirit, the word, the holy book, um, those spirits, some evil spirits, gonna attack you, and good spirits will come to you. Like that man came to me. He didn't ask me for no money. He didn't ask me for no nothing. He just was encouraging me and saying, I can see you a brother, man. He said, I bet you got a story, man. I'd love to hear it. We exchanged numbers, and he just sent me a text and saying, man, blessings to you, man. And I'm telling him, blessings to him, and it got me to thinking about judgment and how people judge people, you know, and it brought up a verse in the Bible that I had to look up. It's from the book of Titus, and it says, for we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving diverse lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful, and hating one another. You know, and it made me think about, like that man, he wasn't judging me because he probably know about that verse. How can I judge another person when I myself was also foolish, was also, foolish in this world, not living by what God want me to do, and not even trying, like consciously trying to even put that in my mind and in my heart to have it to battle the material, the carnal mind. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a process. It ain't like you're gonna wake up and be some brand new person. Because I know I'm not, but I can see the change, and you can see the spirits. I can see the bad coming out of people, the just the anger that comes. Just you can feel. You start to feel even more than I already could. Like once again, to let you know it's not about race, so don't let people push race on you so much. Have love for your race, but it's really about the spirit, because that was a young Hispanic dude. He didn't judge me. He didn't try to look at me and say, oh, you this, or you look like this, or nah, you really not this. He encouraged me, and it also got me to thinking about how many minds we throw away on a daily basis because of the judgment we pass on one another. And I used to have a saying where I say either you a slave owner or a slave. And what I mean is a slave owner of somebody else's mind, or a slave to somebody else's opinions of you. You know what I'm saying? Or how they'll look at you, or how they'll do you, because you ain't got the word, you ain't got God in you. And God is the ultimate authority, and you don't need to bow to no man, no person's thoughts or opinions, only God's. You know what I'm saying? That's why you need God, because that way can't nobody oppress you. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody oppress you when you got God. People can only oppress you when you don't have God, because you'll be a slave to their opinions and their words, or what they think of you, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's hurting a lot of these young kids. That's why you see a lot of young kids out here committing suicide. They ain't got no God, but that's another conversation as well. But um, you know, just the judgment though, man. Don't judge, you know what I'm saying? Encourage everybody get in your word, man, so you can operate the correct way. So you can think the correct way, and don't judge people, because you too were also once foolish. You know what I'm saying? So, and you'll lose so many potential allies in this life through the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because you're judging somebody, and you never know how much, you know what I'm saying, you will encourage somebody to be, you know what I'm saying, to become what God wants them to become through your encouragement and lack of judgment. Now that don't mean don't hold people accountable once, you know what I'm saying, you say I'm your brother in Christ, that don't mean don't tell them, hey man, you messing up. But that means don't shoot down a person's spirit or tear down a person's spirit because you think you holier than thou. And I think sometimes when people talk about God, they think that just because you talking about God, you think you hold no. But see, that's that ain't even what it's about. Because God gonna tell you continuously, you ain't got no right to tell nobody what they is or ain't. If you read the book, But it was just real good for me, real encouraging for me, and it just let me know I'm on the right path. And y'all, anybody sees, wish me luck on that, on keeping on the path. But and get yourself on the path, man. And it ain't never too late to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about God. God gonna be there for you when man forsake you, when woman forsake you. That's why God is the ultimate friend. You know what I'm saying? The ultimate companion. Because God ain't gonna turn his back on you based off no money. God ain't gonna turn his back on you based off who you like, who you talk to. God ain't gonna turn his back on you based off of your job, based off of your occupation, you know. But God, God is available to you if you give yourself to God, you know. And I'm learning, But but I always was taught that. I was taught that by my mama, so I always knew that. But it's one thing to know something your mama told you, but to get into the word and really start to dig into it the way you're supposed to, and ask God to help you through prayer. You know what I'm saying? Even when you just, because I was standing in line praying, trying to keep my mind straight, and yeah. So man, don't y'all do what you gotta do, and don't judge nobody, man, because we throw away a lot of our lives and we throw away a lot of brains. They say a mind is a terrible thing to waste, but we throw a lot of minds away that we could use and that we could learn from, and that we could add to and that could add to us because we're now operating you know what I mean, through the instruction manual. You know what I'm saying, the proper instruction manual, and. So, keep your mind focused, man. Get your mind focused on the Lord, man, because I'm telling you, it's a thing that'll transform your life, transform your mind, and make you into a new person. You know what I'm saying? And don't worry about what nobody say about you, because you gonna come across that. Persecution is a part of trying to serve God. You gonna get persecuted by people, by non-believers. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get persecuted. You're gonna get persecuted by some who claim to be a believer. And that's not me saying I'm a believer or the best believer or nothing. I'm what they call a baby in Christ. But I see the power. I've always known the power because the only reason I'm still here is because of God. I'm just talking a lot different because I'm keeping my mind in that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's in Romans or Galatians 1 where it say, be transferred by, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. You know what I'm saying? Through the word. So you're going to talk different. You're going to think different. You're going to see things different. You feel me? So don't, and shout out to that young brother, man. And hopefully he stay encouraged and stay, because that could have been God just encouraging him. It could have been the reverse of what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because he seemed to be genuinely touched by just me having it. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been, we don't know what God doing. I'm thinking he encouraging me. I could have been there to encourage him. Who know? You know what I'm saying? You don't know what God doing. But, you just want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to put that out there, man, and let people know, man, don't never give up on God, because God ain't going to give up on you if you don't give up on God, and you're going to lose a lot of things in this life. But that's just all the more reason to know that you're supposed to lean on God and not on man, and not on man or woman. Lean on God, man. You're going to have you have a powerful testimony. You have a powerful mind and a powerful spirit, you know what I'm saying? And rebuild your spirit, which will rebuild your mind, and that'll rebuild your body, that'll rebuild everything. So get to it, man. God bless y'all, man. Ron Armstrong TV. Shout out to that young man, Jonathan, man. Shout out to him for coming up to me. And of course, all thanks to God, because God was the connection in that moment. I'm out.